with this, I would like to open the floor for general discussion. I remember that there was one question to the presentation from Pansa about what are the biggest challenges to get the UTM fully functional and fully operational. So I don't know if we have Pansa still with us or not.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, so this was the question for you.
Okay, so just to maybe I will show you one of the slides just to give you a better outlook on what I would be talking about. So I'm particularly this one. So the main problem is that there is pretty much long way from developing some features and the certification, the full certification of the system. So what we have certified now is the blue, most of the blue part on of what you can see on the screen. And on the other hand, we are currently developing a new services, like I mentioned before, for the UAVs in Poland, and to have them certified is not very straightforward issue, especially that we are trying to do some, I'd say, rocket science sometimes with the autonomous flights and services that have never been certified before. So, and this is being actually a part of the U-Space concept. So this part, the blue part that you can see on the slide, is something that is called also the Common Information Service, and this is part of a UTM concept. And having all those other services build up to the core part of the Pansa UTM, and having them certified will be quite a challenge to us. So if you think, for example, about the autonomous flights, like I mentioned before, when you need to take under consideration also some contingency plans for the autonomous flights, because if a flight goes from point A to B on a straight line and everything works perfectly, then you're on the safe side. But if something goes wrong on the way, and would actually, then you have to have some contingency plan. The drone probably has to land somewhere, and it cannot land anywhere. You have to also take under consideration what's going on the ground, for example. If it's a road, a traffic, a crowd, maybe a city or whatever, or just a field or a meadow somewhere where it's safe to land. So the amount of information to be processed is also quite a challenge from this point of view. I'm not sure if I addressed your question correctly, Stefan, because I think it was your question, but if you want me to further elaborate on this, I can go on.
Thank you very much, Michał. So we can all agree that certification, both in terms of let's say technology and technical solutions, but also in terms of legal and regulatory framework, this is one of the challenges that we are facing. In the meantime, thank you very much, Bruno, for putting up the links. If you do not mind, we will copy the links and put it on the COE group on CMINE. Is that okay with you, Bruno? As a feedback from the seminar?
Of course, by all means, yes.
Okay, so we'll do it. Thank you. Can I see the chat, please? Yeah, okay, so those are your links. Great, thanks a lot. Actually, I have one general question to the audience. What are your thoughts and reflections related to the presentation of Bruno and possible risks for safety, security, but also societal impact? Because for me, this was actually a very interesting presentation. Maybe not really an eye-opener, because we have all probably heard about those issues before, but having them gathered together in one place was certainly interesting. So anyone willing to react on that?
Yeah, I have a question and also thinking about. I think I wrote about the public's acceptance. It was when we started to think about the work about UGM, when the Transportation Board in Sweden had some kind of meetings and hearings. That was a big issue of the public acceptance. It was also a lot about this when we had a camera surveillance law, and people start to question if there was a pilot flying somewhere. They approached them and said, "Is this law? Is by the law? Do you do this right?" But I think as further of the year, there's less and less, and the public acceptance has been better, and also in the authorities, there's no problem at all because we are doing it to the benefit of the people, searching for lives and rescue missions and something like that. So it's more acceptance in that scenario than it is with the private sector and the industry. But it was an issue before, but not so much in Sweden. But we haven't had it implemented like guidance for COVID-19 and use the fire camera, something like that. So I think it could be a problem again if we start using it in other scenarios that the people have us get used to. That's my what you call thinking on Sweden. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefan. Any other comments or questions to any of the presentations that we have heard today?
Could I just very briefly comment on Stefan's?
Of course, please.
No, Stefan, thanks a lot. I think that's exactly the same perception that we have. I think that the issue of transparency, of the end destination of data, and what is the purpose for doing, for using drones? What is the context? I think that there are many obviously good and benefits, obvious benefits of using drones in many scenarios. And I think that as long as people have a general trust on the end users, whoever they are, I think that is not a big problem. And in a way, as long as there is transparency and there is kind of a good communication, I think that it doesn't have to be a problem. It may become a problem precisely as I tried to say, when there is kind of a particular crisis scenario, and then this accelerates a number of processes, and then eventually you realize that either drones were used for a slightly different purpose that people were aware of, or that the data collected was used for a different function, and then problems may arise, but they don't have to arise. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, Bruno. I see Jakob asking for the floor, so
yep. Actually, coming back to the discussion between Michał and Stefan on the UTM, I'm just wondering, as you might have noticed, it's not accident that we have these two presentations from Michał and from myself. We are working quite closely on having the functions of the UTM or DTM implemented for crisis management. I'm wondering, Stefan, is there any specific functionalities? Are there any specific functionalities of DTM which you are expecting to use in Sweden, or you are interested in? Because we will be probably planning some activities next year as part of the Center of Expertise activities. And I would be quite keen to understand what are your interests and whether there is something which we could try to focus jointly, so the lessons learned from these trials, if you wish, would be mutually beneficial.
Thank you very much for the question. I'm working a lot with the United Blue Lights demands on the UTM, and what's coming out from them. And one demand is that I want to have what you call a certain way that there are priorities. When there's an incident, we have to have priority of the use space and the area fast, so we can establish the drones and also other type of flying resources. And actually yesterday from the government of Sweden, they came and a startup for the Civil Aviation Administration to start up with the UTM and ask for this question. So I reckon the Civil Aviation Administration are coming to me soon with this question about the United Blue Lights demand in the UTM system. So very much a collaboration in this question. We have, as I heard before, come a lot far away, how we see on it, so we can help each other. So yes, very good if it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Michał, would you like to some comment on that?
Yeah. The main comment that I would like to add is that this is the priority for the airspace is something that we deal with in the first module of this dynamic safety and security project. So this is the public order service, something that I referred in my presentation to DSS, public service order. So public order service. Sorry. So this is the part that you may see. Once again for your information, and we can talk about it later if you like.
Thank you very much. So any more comments or questions? We are slightly behind the schedule, so but we still have some resilient participants with us. So any comments or questions? Okay, that does not seem to be the case. So I would like to thank you once again for joining us for this seminar. I hope you found it useful and interesting. We will work together with our CMINE master. I mean, our CMINE master will probably do 90% of the work, but okay. Let's call it cooperation. We will work together to provide you with the feedback from the event, with the presentations and the additional links. And let's be in touch, and let's continue our exchange of information and sharing experiences as the Center of Expertise Network. I think that really there are a lot of issues that might be of common interest, and it's worth to discuss and elaborate them further. So we'll keep in touch, certainly, not with just the presentations from today, but also maybe possible other initiatives and seminars that we could maybe organize in the future.